All right, thank you so much.
Of course, you
appreciate it. So you're thinking of moving here to Conroe, Texas. Well, today we're here at Pacific Yard House, one of the coolest restaurants here in downtown Conroe. And in today's video, we're gonna tell you everything you could possibly want to know about Conroe, Texas. So I'm gonna eat this and then we're gonna get after it right now. We are here in downtown Conroe, Texas, and in today's video, we are going to tell you everything there is to know about living here in Conroe. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Conroe or the entire Houston area, subscribe to our channel, tap that bell for notifications. That way you can be the first to know about everything going on here in the Houston area. My name's Kyler Ferris, and my team, we get calls and texts and emails from people just like you that are watching our videos, trying to figure out where they want to be, where they're going to fit in here in the Houston area. So if that's you, go ahead and send us a text, give us a call, shoot us an email. We would love to help you guys make a smooth move here to Houston. So let's get into it. A little bit about Conroe. So Conroe is located 41 miles north of Houston, Texas, and unlike a lot of the other suburbs around Houston, Conroe doesn't exist just because Houston exists. Conroe actually dates back all the way to 1881, and so initially a lumber yard was founded here by Isaac Conroe. That's what the town's named after, and I'm actually fifth generation Conroe resident going back to the 1800s, and so my family's got a rich history here, and I'm really excited to share with you guys the things that I personally love about Conroe. Downtown Conroe really is booming right now. One of the things that I love about it, and if you look around, you can see that it's actually a small town Texas square. And so it's not a ton of new development right here in downtown Conroe. It has that historic kind of southeast Texas small town feel. But what's beautiful about it is, as you can see, there's a lot of construction going on. And so they are revitalizing downtown Conroe right now. So one of my favorite things to do is to come out here. They've got different events throughout the year in downtown Conroe, and they'll open up all the cute little boutiques and shops. At the evening time, you can grab a glass of wine, grab a beer, walk around. There's live music and just tons to do for the family to really enjoy that small town Texas experience. Conroe is growing, and so what's crazy is last year in 2021, it was in the top 15 fastest growing cities in the entire country. And that's really crazy to think about, being that this is my hometown. I grew up here. It was a sleepy little town, but the population has actually doubled here since 2000. And so the population here in Conroe is right under 100,000 people here in the city limits. And then obviously there's more people just on the outskirts of town. So it really is growing. We're going to tell you more later in the video about housing here and paint a full picture of what you can get for your different prices here in Conroe, whether it's a resale or there's a ton of new construction because of the boom here, a ton of new development. And so there really is housing here, unlike a lot of the other suburbs, that will meet everybody's needs. Quick little fun fact before we leave downtown Conroe. My great-grandfather, Tom Nixon, actually owned the local lounge here in Conroe, and he would have some very interesting visitors, some of which were Bonnie and Clyde. They would actually come into town. Clyde's cousin lived here in Conroe, and whenever they would come into town in between their bank robbing heists, they would stop at the local lounge, have a beer, and then they would obviously skip town and get back out on the run. And so there is really a ton of rich history here in Conroe. It still very much has that southern Texas charm, that small Texas town charm that everybody's looking for. And it also now has all of this awesome growth and new development. So check out some of the other things that I love to do here in Conroe, and then I'm going to see you guys over at the brewery. So I wanted to bring you guys to one of my favorite places here in Conroe. This is B52 Brewery. It's one of 4 breweries that we actually have here in Conroe. So for such a small town, there's actually some really awesome breweries here. Some of them even have national distribution. I've been on trips before and I have seen Southern Star, the other brewery here in Conroe. I've seen their beers actually in other states. And so I thought this would be a really good place to sit down and actually tell you a little bit more about Conroe. So I looked up the cost of living index here because I think it's really important to see how it compares to the rest of the country. And the way that they do the cost of living index is they actually measure everywhere in the country, and then if it's below 100%, that means that it's less than the average, and if it's above, it's higher than the average. And so here in Conroe, Texas, they gave the cost of living 93%, which means that it is more affordable to live here in Conroe, Texas than it is in most other places. So as we've said, there's a ton of new development going on here. Prices of homes have increased over the past year significantly, but I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. I think there's going to be tons of people continuing to move here to the Houston area, but specifically Conroe. And the reason that's the case is because when things are bad in the economy in other places, it gets bad here last. So I've lived here for a really long time, and I've been through 2008 and all these other recessions, and what ends up happening is people end up coming from California. Maybe you're coming from California. People end up coming from New York, and there's no state income tax here in Texas, and so that's a really big attraction for a lot of people, possibly yourselves, looking to make a move here to the Conroe area. So this place on the weekends is packed. We're actually here right before they opened up. That way we could get some shots and show you what it looks like. But it's dog friendly, pet friendly, kid friendly. There's games, there's events. We've got a Puerto Rican fusion food set up over here. And so there's always something to do. They've got games, and they'll even have larger events and sometimes live music here as well. So it's definitely one of the highlights, and wanted to feature it here on our pit stop on our way out to Lake Conroe. So you can't come to Conroe, Texas without checking out Lake Conroe. And what makes Lake Conroe so special is it's actually one of the only lakes here in the entire Houston area. So there's really only 3 lakes in all of Houston. Obviously you can go down to the beach, check the beach out. Galveston's fantastic. But if you want that lake life, if you want a boat, if you want a waterfront view, either a condo or single family home, your first destination in Houston is going to be Lake Conroe. Lake Houston is significantly smaller. It does have some waterfront homes, but Lake Conroe is going to offer everything. You can rent boats here, you can rent jet skis here, you can get a condo on the water, a single family house on the water, and it is a massive lake. It's actually a 20,000 acre lake, which is huge. And so the lake is actually bisected by the 1097 bridge, and so the whole southern half of Lake Conroe is developed. So it's all bulkheaded, and there are boats everywhere. And then as you go to the north side of the lake, if you're an angler like myself and you like to fish, that's where a lot of the good fishing is. It's actually ties into the Sam Houston National Forest. So it's a really cool experience. And then the third lake is gonna be Lake Livingston. It's a little further out and not quite as accessible, even though it's 3 times larger than Lake Conroe. So I just wanted you guys to check out Lake Conroe, see what lake life here in Conroe has to offer you. We're here at Kazmierski Park, which is one of the local parks here in Conroe. It's a public park, and on the weekends, you're gonna have sporting events out on this field over here. It's a 24-hour playground for the kids to come out and enjoy. But you also have the skate park, which was one of my favorite things growing up here, having access to this. It's family friendly. You've got all ages that come out here and enjoy this park. And this isn't the only park in Conroe. There's tons of other parks. There's Candy Cane Park, there's Veterans Memorial Park. And so on a beautiful day like today, there's plenty of opportunities here in Conroe to bring a picnic blanket, bring some snacks, and come out here, hang out with friends, hang out with your family, and just enjoy this suburban lifestyle. I wanted to show you guys the Montgomery County Fairgrounds really quick. It is one amenity that I think sets Conroe apart from a lot of the other surrounding areas. And so when you have an amenity like this behind me, they're able to throw tons of events throughout the year. And the largest event that goes on here annually is the Montgomery County Fair and Rodeo. And so right behind me over here, you'll get tons and tons of carnival rides. all of the FFA and 4-H students, which if you're not familiar with that, it's kind of like the ag department at the local public schools. The kids will raise their animals throughout the year, and then they'll have their livestock show. They'll show sheep, they'll show pigs. So it's a really cool family-friendly environment. And then you can't forget about the chili cook-off and the barbecue cook-off. And that is a competition that a lot of people here in Conroe take really seriously. All of the local businesses typically sponsor a team, and then you're out here for the whole weekend. It's a really, really, really fun environment. And then you also will get a couple different pop-up events throughout the year. In fact, not too long ago, we actually had a Trump rally right here in Conroe, Texas, and it brought out, they say, between 50 and 80,000 people. So it can hold a lot, and there's a lot that can be done here, so you don't have to leave Conroe for some really cool family-friendly events. Follow me, and we're gonna go check out the airport here in Conroe. We're here at Conroe Regional Airport, and I wanted to tell you about proximity to airports here in Conroe because I think that's really important to people. So you do have just a short 27-minute drive to IAH, which is a large public international airport. But right here in Conroe, behind me, you've got Conroe Regional, and it's actually one of the best private airports in all of Houston. And the runway is long enough to accommodate much larger jets. There's also a military component to this airport. And so anyways, the runway being super long allows for, during the Super Bowl here in Houston, all of the private jets flew in, and they flew into this airport and then just took a quick ride on down to the Super Bowl. So it's a really unique feature that we have right here. If you want your own private pilot's license, they've got an aviation school right behind me. And so I think it really is something that distinguishes Conroe, like I said, from some of these other suburbs. And right next to the airport, we're gonna go check out the technology park here. It's attracted a ton of businesses to the local area, and businessmen from all around the world actually use this airport. They fly in, they hop in a quick golf cart ride over to the Technology Center for their research and development projects right here in Conroe, Texas. So follow me, we're gonna go check that out. Right behind me is the sign for Dyson Technology Park here at the Conroe Airport. And the reason I'm bringing you guys out here is I want to explain why there is so much growth here in Conroe. And one of the reasons is because the city of Conroe designated all of this land and is incentivizing companies to move here. They're incentivizing them to move their manufacturing here, their research and development here. And because it's right here at this airport, you've got a lot of companies that'll fly their people in on private jets. They'll come right on over here. They'll check out what they're doing research development wise, manufacturing wise, and then they'll head right on back out of town. And so that's a huge driver for a lot of the growth here in Conroe. Right behind me is Houston Healthcare's hospital right here in Conroe. And I think it's important to note the proximity that Conroe has to all of these awesome hospitals. So not only does Conroe have this hospital right behind me here in Conroe, but because of Conroe's proximity to the Woodlands, you're actually going to be about a 10-minute drive to 4 of some of the best hospitals in the entire Houston area. So if you're not from the Houston area, then you need to know that Houston is actually one of the largest medical centers in the entire world. And people come from all over the world, all over the country for all of the cutting edge treatments that are down in the Houston Medical Center. Well, a lot of those hospitals that are down there actually have satellite campuses up in the Woodlands and here in Conroe. And because of that, world-renowned physicians live right here in Conroe. They live right here in the Woodlands. And so by living here in Conroe, you're right next to all of these awesome hospitals, and you have access to tons of phenomenal health care. So if you are a healthcare professional, Conroe is a fantastic place to live. In fact, it's probably a better location to live if you're on call and need to be up at these hospitals. You're a quick 10-minute drive than you are going to be in other areas. So I just think that's important to know when you're looking at the Conroe area, to know that you're this close to awesome healthcare. So we're here at Moorhead Stadium. This is at Conroe High School, and we want to talk a little bit about the schools here in Conroe. So Conroe ISD is the school district that encompasses Conroe High. So if you live anywhere in the Conroe city limits, you're going to go to school at one of the Conroe ISD schools. Now, CISD reaches outside of Conroe as well. That also covers the schools in the Woodlands. But if you live here in Conroe, there's only one high school, and that's Conroe High School. It's home of the Conroe Tigers. Conroe High School's been here for as long as I can remember. My mother went to high school here, and it has a really rich tradition, rich history, and there's a lot of school pride that goes into Conroe High School. It is a 6A high school, and if you don't know what that means, it means it's one of the largest high schools in the state of Texas. And so here in the state of Texas, they rank 1A through 6A, and they keep adding every time these schools keep growing. But Conroe is a 6A high school. It competes against other 6A high schools in athletics. So we're here during school. As you can see, you've got a lot of the different teams, the soccer team, track team practicing up here. So there's a lot of awesome extracurriculars. And while everybody has a different opinion of what a good school is, we highly recommend you use niche.com to look up school ratings. That way you can see which schools in Conroe fit your needs for schooling when you're looking for your children. So we're in the first neighborhood that we're going to check out today, and I want to show you guys what you can get in the $250 to $300 range here in Conroe. So we're in actually one of Conroe's oldest neighborhoods. It's kind of a mix of neighborhoods, but I call it Tanglewood. This is actually where my grandparents lived for over 50 years, and a lot of the homes out here you will see are these larger one-story spread out ranch style homes, and they've obviously all been remodeled at this point because they were all built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And anyways, you can get homes that range anywhere from 1,500 square feet all the way up to about 2,800 square feet in that $250,000 to $300,000 range. And it's a very convenient location, super centrally located to Conroe and downtown Conroe. And that's just has to do with the fact that it is one of the older neighborhoods, and so it was developed first, and it was developed right near downtown. So let's go check out another neighborhood at a different price point. So we're here in our second neighborhood, and this price point we're going to be featuring right now is going to start just above 300, and homes in this neighborhood are going to get up to about 550. Now, these homes are newer, as you can see, than the last neighborhood. This neighborhood is called Greystone Hills. It's right here off the loop in Conroe. It's pretty central to Conroe, but it's newer. And so these homes have all pretty much been built in the last 15 years, and it really is a nice neighborhood as far as pride of ownership. Everything's nice and clean, well taken care of, and you can get family homes here that start around 2,000 square feet that are going to go all the way up to close to 3,500 square feet. And so you can get pools in this neighborhood, and you're just a couple minutes away from downtown Conroe, a couple minutes away from I-45 if you commute to Houston for work. So these homes are a great example of that $300,000 to $500,000 budget, which is a really approachable budget here in Conroe. I would say that most of the homes here in Conroe are probably in that $300,000 to $500,000 range, but we are going to take you to see a little bit higher price point. We're going to head out to the lake, and we're going to show you just what you can get for $1 million. This is our last stop today on our home tour, and we're going to show you what you can get in the $1 million and up price range. The home that you see right behind me, it actually just sold earlier this year. It sold for just over $1 million. It was at $1.25 million. But what you're getting for $1.25 million is a gated community. This is a newer home. It was built in 2006. You get the Mediterranean architecture, which is really nice around the lake. A lot of the higher price point homes are going to be designed this way. And this is 4,600 square feet. Open water, private dock, gated community. And so it really doesn't get much better than this, but it's really nice because you can actually get something like this in this same exact neighborhood for right around $1 million. And in that $1 million price range, you're also going to be able to get homes around the Conroe area that are on larger acre lots. Very good size. A lot of them are like a farmhouse design, and you might even be able to get like a workshop out on your property with a little bit more privacy. So that's what you can expect here in Conroe around the $1 million mark. Now that we've seen what you can get for your different budgets here in the Conroe area, I think it's important to tell you what the overall feel of the town is like. And so, as we mentioned, the town goes back to the 1800s, so there's a lot of rich history here. So you are going to have that small town, Southeast Texas charm, but you're also going to get all the benefits, all the upsides of tons and tons of new commercial developments. And what comes with that is constantly we're getting new restaurants here in Conroe. The downtown's currently being completely revitalized, and so pretty much every single week there's a grand opening for something new. There's a new neighborhood that's been announced, and so having homes in this community that are starting in the 200s and then going all the way up to these lake homes behind me for well over $1 million, it really is one of the best suburbs of Houston to move to right now, and that is why it continues to be ranked one of the fastest growing cities here in the entire United States. So that's why. So if you are looking for that small town Texas charm and you're looking around Houston, I would say that Conroe, I would not rule out Conroe. In fact, I would probably start with Conroe and see if it doesn't check all of the boxes for you. Super close to the airport, super close to hospitals, and it really is a great place to raise a family here in the Houston area. So we started today's video with a bite to eat. We're gonna finish today's video with a bite to eat, and I thought there was no better place to do that than Vernon's Barbecue here in Conroe, Texas. It's home of the Conroe Tigers. You cannot come to Conroe and not come to Vernon's. It's one of the best local businesses around here. And so if you liked today's video and it was helpful to you guys, that's our goal. We're gonna keep pumping out content about the entire Houston area, so check out some of our other videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, tap that bell for notifications. That way you can be the first to know about everything going on in the entire Houston area. If you were looking to move in a day, a week, a month, a year, then give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. That way we can help you make a smooth move here to the Houston area.